stab you, you stab me. Dance a fool. Justice be served. You love me and I love you. It's one thing to sharpen a blade, it's another thing to use it. We love each other, don't we? Twice if I were you. It's one thing to sharpen a blade, it's another to use it. It's one thing to sharpen a blade, it's another thing to use it. Your last chance. Do you take it? Or do you forgive? Or do you take it? to the cliff and over. Last chance, baby.
Whoa, that was lovely by Zeph Daniels, original music. Hi, everyone. This is Amelia Duran, your host in the Porthole to Justice. It is June 5th, 2018, and something's going on here. I have so many electronics. I don't even know how to operate them. Oh my gosh. Would everybody agree that all is fair in love and war? So interesting. All right. So we're going to have Lotus Justice on the show. Stand by. I have no idea what's going on with all these electronics. All right. Woo! Zeph Daniels, my favorite all-time composer and musician. Stand by. We're going to get an update. Yo, welcome to the Porthole to Justice. Yeah, you're live.
I figured I was.
I know. It's like serious. Okay, what's going on is serious as a heart attack. And give us an update, please.
Okay, well, what our vets have discovered is that we have human trafficking with babies and women happening across the border of our southern border, and have seen it firsthand, and have decided that there's a need for a constant core of individuals who are vetted through the military, that pretty much are operating under military ops and military direction. If they are ordered by the executive branch to do something, they will do something. That's the beauty of it, being an organized militia in this respect. And they have already established, just from finding this camp and seeing how people are ignored when we try to get some attention brought to this, that they're going to take it upon themselves. And they've started with this particular site in Arizona. I can tell you I got a field report, and then they had to...
Can I interject? We're not just...
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
I just want to clarify, we're not just taking it upon ourselves. We are following military protocol that falls into military jurisdiction.
Absolutely. And that's you know, when this when the event coordinator called me, who I've worked with before, and I knew him before he even had this position, which is, you know, he's doing this of his, just like me, he's doing this of his own accord, because he knows his country's in danger. Just as all these vets down there and anybody down there helping, any of these people that show up and assist the Bundys and assist the North Dakota pipeline natives up there, these people do it voluntarily. They're not getting paid. But the people that are fighting them, and in the case like in North Dakota, they are getting paid. So which one are you going to be on the side of? Me personally, I'll be on the side of the man and woman who feels the need to assist their nation and goes to an area and just fulfills a moral duty. You know, because that's how Americans are. That's the one thing Americans are that most countries are not, folks. We'll help each other when we need to. So no, they are under military orders, because that's why let me tell you how this proceeded. We found some stuff out about Arizona very early. I have affiliations and liaisons and friendships with people that I've known, I've established during the course of me trying to correct the course of my country. And I get this information, and we got a hit on the Arizona thing. And that came in very early through the people I know. And we knew we needed to get ahead of it because the locals had already just acted like it was no big deal. Well, let me tell you about the fact that the locals said it's no big deal. In law, they basically passed on a right. They've passed on jurisdiction. So they don't get to impose it anymore, folks. The police down there lawfully have passed on the jurisdiction that these veterans are now controlling. And so that they'll probably wish they hadn't done that, okay, because it sets a precedent. So the vets said, fine, we know this is a crime scene. We're going to call in people we know, because they know a lot of people that do this kind of stuff, investigate child trafficking, that still work in the government. They brought some experts down and had them walk around and they said this is a trafficking site. It's clearly a trafficking site. So still nowhere. So we went. We basically got word from our people. So we went through our affiliations with Window into the executive branch, and they are under orders. If the executive branch calls and says do this or do not do this, we have provided lawful authority and operating orders and to work as an organized militia. So we basically have an organized militia down in Arizona right now, folks. This is the first time we've had an active organized militia in a long time. So this is great, just as a new thing.
I mean, would you classify it as an organized militia? I mean, is that the proper context?
Yes. They're under military ops. They're under what would be like old War Department provost.
So I feel more comfortable saying that they're military ops personally on publicly, because we are in compliance. And I would like to believe that, we're complying, because I am pushing for a military tribunal personally here on the Portal to Justice. I would hope that everybody tuning into this show is in agreement that we need a military tribunal.
Well, and that's kind of the point here. I established a relationship with the event coordinator, who is kind of each person is kind of doing one thing, and we just happen to all come together. Like the event coordinator, someone that has kind of a backdoor access through his established relationships over his course of his life to people within the executive branch that can authorize and create connections between the executive branch and people within the field. Because what people understand is these types of corridors of communications have had to evolve because of the obstructions to justice and the coup within our government, that you can't trust anybody, really. I mean, it's really by their deeds. And so, like, for example, we shouldn't have to go to the Supreme Court to get a child back that's been kidnapped. We should be able to call our military. We have a Department of Homeland Security. Okay. I see things that are of a treasonous and or manner of way which threatens the safety and security of the American people on a daily basis. If I call Homeland Security, you know what happens? Nothing. So you have all these situations of people that we have these agencies, but they're not being invoked. We're preventing from being able to execute them because there are vacancies of statutes and vacancies in demand and things like this. This would actually be a great evolution to go back to having an organized militia that has kind of a super jurisdiction to the state. They would actually be under the direction of the executive branch, but they are not active army. And there's disorganized militias and organized militias. See, they can't. This would be a posse comitatus if these were active military. Posse comitatus is not allowed here. However, if you have a trained reserve corps of veterans, and or we have other disorganized militias, which is the local 3%ers and stuff like that, and that's even better for them to have an organized versus disorganized, because the organized really are by the military ops manuals under the liaison with your federal active military, because they're your ground troops that are trained military if you're being invaded. That we don't have to take our troops from Afghanistan or Iraq. Do you understand, folks? So we've done this with civilian corps in World War I and World War II. We had old dudes up on mountains or hills, sand dunes with binoculars. They weren't allowed to carry guns, but they had little badges. We have these civilian corps. They've named them a variety of things, but this really is in the way that I would perceive, the way I see the way we structured it. On the boots on the ground, and we just, I give the counsel, he goes to his liaisons, and then we talk to the boots on the ground folks, the active operations people, the people who found the camp, who secured it, who have been so concerned that they're not dropping this matter. They're saying we're going to get this done, and we tried to structure it. It's under administrative process. It's under the military code. There's an organized rank hierarchy. They're under the color of law. They're all under oath. They are liaisoning with the federal actives, and they would surrender to orders from them. That is what the organized militia is. They're not part of the military. They actually facilitate with the local community, because in this case, they're taking this one step further. They're starting to organize. They're having like locations where people can report. And they're sending out 3 units a day every 6 hours, or 4 units every 6 hours, whatever it is, of search and rescue. Because right now, a lot of the issue is that now that we know there's these tunnels, we're concerned with active kidnapped people in them.
So Lotus, when you say active kidnapped people, I want to speculate to the audience that's tuning in. You found evidence there, and please feel free to go into.
I haven't. But what I get is here's the organization here. I get and these reports are starting to come out from the actual the vet coordinator. You'll see them they come through Sean Q. He is cooperating with the boots on the ground coordinator. He's through the VOP Alpha Company. I think this will probably morph into a more permanent instrument of the people, of the American people, to have an organized militia. Because we've had situations like this happen before, folks. Not to this grandeur, but where we knew that there were, for example, up in the pipeline. The sheriffs were operating completely unlawfully. We had the militia up in there, but there were issues with the disorganized militia versus the organized militia. And the problem with disorganized militias is they don't want to follow the rules. They're there, and that's fine. That's their right. Okay. They don't want to go into the jurisdiction of anything of a government nature. That's great. But if you need a standing army to come up immediately upon invasion without it being your national army, literally your active army being called in, you have a standing organized militia. You don't need dissent of who's in charge and what to do in that fashion. You need a group of people who immediately are called up from your community, that are the veterans of the community, that have gone through military service, that are vetted, that are forever under oath if called up. So basically, it'd just be like you're saying it's an organized veterans association. And if you look at an association, I think it's the military. I could get you the actual website, but they tell you that their job, they're the retirees of all the service communities of the United States Army. So it's like the United States Army Retirees Association, and they'll tell you that their mandate is to preserve America's Army. America's Army is really the totality of the active and inactive reserves. That's our Army, folks. But when it comes to protecting the land, we have laws about a standing army, a standing active army that's under the direction of the feds. Your standing army that's organized is supposed to be of your community, of your veterans from your community who upon a call from the federal government saying we need you to do this for us, they'll do standing army, but they're still there to protect the people. Their job is the safety and security of the immediate people in the vicinity. And then the feds can do their stuff that they need to do outside of our territorial waters, outside the borders of the United States. So that's the way our republic, from my perspective, has, and this constructs of organized and disorganized militias are meant to be. And I know that that's the truth, because if you look at military manuals, that's how the provost is an instrument that is, he's like the general of the disorganized army. The organized militia. I want to say so. The provost is kind of the head guy of the organized militias. And guess what? These dudes they're using their ranks. They still report to, even though they're retired, they have a reporting officer, folks, because they can be called up. So they still kind of maintain. It's like my mom. She's forever a civil servant. See, people don't understand that about federal civil servants. If you're a federal civil servant or of a military fashion, you are always, for your whole life till you die, volunteered to serve in the civilian corps of the federal government. My mom's retired. She was a 30-plus year retiree. But guess what? If they call her up because she retired as an essential personnel, they could call her up today at the age of 70 and say, we need your essential services. You shall be working. She'd be like, okay. She wouldn't even think twice. Military the same way. So what's happened here is the military has seen a vacuum, and just being upset about something that they knew shouldn't be happening the way it did. We're not even going to talk about what didn't happen locally. They're inundated. This will actually take a lot of stress off the Border Patrol and the local, like municipalities and even the counties. These are vast stretches of desert that they don't have time to go looking through. If there's an organized militia of vets that get the authority of a lot of these. They said they have ranchers coming to them now saying, we'd like you to go, there's a tunnel on my land, I want you to go look it for me, because the police and stuff won't do it. These guys are going to do it, and they're going to be under, that's what it looks like it's evolving to. So this is a great evolution of just basically the reconstitution of an organized militia. I think we can get this out of this. I think it's great. These guys have found some things in the field. I know that there was a concern about the 3%ers and stuff. It's a military operation, and it needs to function as a military operation, because this is a search and rescue military operation. These guys are, yes, they're looking for evidence and things and stuff, but their primary concern is finding these tunnels and making sure there's nobody in them. I mean, this is like their life. I mean, these guys, I think, have turned their pivot point in life. This is what they're going to do. And they're going to make it happen. And they apparently have other cities calling them now, wanting them to facilitate these grid searches of these vast areas. And so this is an armed, heavy, full pack. These are grid searches of a military search and recovery construct. Okay, you may run into. They may run into. M13. They're going to run into potentially cartel personnel. And you want military trained folks for this, okay? But these are, this is literally just search and rescue for kids. In fact, I wish I could. There was he's been giving the guy from the VOP. He's been giving live updates on a regular basis, and there's issues with 5,000 people and stuff. So if you guys have these people as friends, you're friended with them, share these as soon as they come up, because that's how we're spreading this. We're getting ahead of them changing the scenario by
and
the
they're coming up against us. They're blocking our post. They're reporting us to Facebook. I mean, it's level 500. It's over and above. And yeah. Look. Here's the thing. People know who we are now. We're very public, and we're going public with this, and we've been going public with this, and we've been asking for help. It's not happening.
Right. So we are reconstituting Republic instruments. An organized militia is an instrument of our republic, and the Constitution for it. It's an instrument of the people. Right to be
Lotus. In regards to organized militia going down to Tucson, Arizona, exactly. Okay, I know a lot of people want to volunteer and get involved.
Absolutely.
So let's be specific and very clear.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I want to be specific about these grid searches. If you are not a vet, or two things. If you are not a vet, you're going to be escorted by people with the guns, because like I said, this is a military operation. It's under military protocols, but it's voluntarily. So they're sliding into what they know, because that's how you organize militias. They are in no way. I mean, like I said, this is them operating of their own accord as republic, morally republic-based people, and they have a right to do what they're doing. They're operating under their oath. And that's how this all started. So, but they're not going to mix ranks with non-vettable people, because it is not safe for that to be a circumstance. This is a military search and recovery. They may be fired upon. They may come under fire with foreign agents. Okay, searching these tunnels, because that's the point here, folks. That's the point. So, is that we have people coming over our border and trafficking babies and children through these camps and these tunnels. Okay, that's what it looks like is happening. So this people are concerned, and that's the whole thing. I don't approve of anything happening with these kids coming from the other border. But the point of the fact is, we don't even know if the kids that they were bringing from the south were their kids. These could have been stolen kids, folks. You got to remember this. So what this shows is there's a huge potentiality for the southern border to just be a sieve of child trafficking. By M13 gang members and drug cartels. Okay, they're not just smuggling drugs, folks. Well, and if you're talking about adrenochrome, they are smuggling a drug in the blood of a child. So you have to think about that, folks. So, this is a big issue that we've been talking about, and they're filling a vacuum. And I think, and they're getting positive support from the municipalities and stuff because they're inundated. I mean, you have to imagine what these local communities and law enforcement officers and sheriffs, like I said, it's all about the man in the uniform. It's not about the uniform itself. If you got a good man, you got a good cop, you got a good sheriff. But think about how inundated, the good guys are down there with all this insurgents across the border, drugs and guns that were even shipped down there by our own previous administrations and stuff. I mean, you have to think about these local people have to deal with on a daily basis on top of, and that's on top of the regular domestic violence and social programs and all the problems that come with what they're dealing with coming over the border, all the drugs coming into their own town. They're overworked down there. They can't get to these tunnels. They can't get to these deep recesses of these big ranches with tons of desert space that are for cattle. They just can't get to them. So they don't have the time, the manpower.
Can I interject? May I interject? Would you
yes,
say that it's fair to say that we're not totally alienating militia? We're just they can participate in actively protecting the military operation. However, let's emphasize. I mean, can we fairly emphasize and say that the requirements of these military volunteers? It's all. I just want to be specific.
Well, so let's talk about where we're at now with the Arizona circumstance, and let's talk about the future. Okay, right now with the Arizona circumstance, it is purely a military ops. We declared it a multi-jurisdictional. We decided to present it that way as a multi-jurisdictional military operation that would come under the executive branch, and they agreed. So the veterans decided to organize, and gave themselves. And so what we need down there right now is support staff, though. We don't necessarily need, the guns and ammo. We don't need the walkthrough. That the veterans are going to control that aspect of it. But you have to remember, think of all the veterans that are coming down there are going to need water. They're going to need support staff. The support staff is as important as the guys in the field, and we need support staff that can be trusted and have military knowledge as well. So that's, I would suggest they're asking for support staff. They're asking for water. They're asking for potassium. These guys are in full packs for 6 hours, okay, out here. So that's where this is in the very infancy stage, folks. But so the plan here in the future, because they're doing, and we need intelligence, counterintelligence. They have people rolling up with these secret maps suddenly. We have people who are coming forward who have had information about what's going on, but couldn't get anybody to listen to them. Or the people that did listen to them didn't know how to handle it, didn't have the resources. So we now have intelligence rolling in too, folks. So if you have something to contribute on an intelligence basis, I mean, like material facts. Here's a map. I know for a fact there is a tunnel right there. Then that's going to be set up too. So what I'm saying is this looks like it could potentially explode to be a whole new way. They're already talking about doing the whole, I think, I-91 corridor. And so there's a lot of things that people can do on a support structure, okay, for this particular Arizona site. Because from what I understand, it's in an area of an abandoned mine. There's tunnels everywhere. From my event coordinator, we have a confirmation of these things. There has been a bloody knife found. There have been plane tickets of missing people found. There have been hair combs with hair in them found that they've turned over. There have been graves found. Okay, so this is a very early stage of an evolution of an organic construct of people coming together to fill the vacancies that either government didn't want, the organized government didn't want to, or didn't have the resources to fill at this time because they couldn't justify the need for it. So in the future, I would think that this would evolve to have an organized militia and a disorganized militia. I'm going to tell you, if you're going to be in the organized militia, you're going to be surrendering to military, standards, rules, and procedures, because that's what an organized militia is. It has rank, it has rules of engagement. Disorganized militias, that's your ragtag team of rebels that don't work. That's an American construct too. That the disorganized militia assisted very much so and was pivotal in us winning the Revolutionary War. So you have to think about this, folks. These are just all organic things. This is a very organic process. That's the beauty of a republic. So don't feel like it's a trap because you go down there and you can't take your guns. And
the other thing is don't feel like this. This is really real. Like, this needs to be taken very seriously. And Lotus, I need to ask you this question.
Yes, ma'am.
I hope you don't mind. Robert Allen and some of the people of Delta Force and Omega Force, I've been sending them some emails and updates of what we're doing and inside information and intel. And they want to know, okay, Lotus Justice is calling the shots down there, and maybe we can't have militia. They want to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
I am calling nothing in the field. I know. This is what they do. They come to me and ask me for my counsel and how they can operate within the law of the republic. And basically the same thing I do in the courts. They're saying, how can I, in my position as a veteran, and or even the disorganized militia, because I just explained how the disorganized militia, they're the ragtag teams that, they're the guerrilla warfare folks. I mean, that's what they are. I mean, to be honest, in a military construct. And, they don't, but the reason why this is under military control is because there's potentiality of being under fire, for one, and in the recovery of, mass issues with deaths and stuff like that, finding people. And they need to maintain military order and control. So one, nothing can be run afoul by a co-optive foreign agent, because I'm not trying to insult the disorganized militia, because that's, in my mind, that's what these organizations are. They're the disorganized militia. They may be organized within the ranks, but they're not organized with the construct of the provost and the liaisons between what the organized militias are to the federal construct. So they have not agreed to engage into the organization of this cohesive, because if you think about the American construct, we have an army that reaches to every quarter of the world and yet can protect every minuscule blade of grass in our country. We're one of the few people, I don't know many countries that have that. In fact, I don't know, maybe we're the only one, except for maybe Switzerland, but Switzerland doesn't go running off it doesn't have bases. We're the only nation that has this ability to defend foreign and domestic. So the disorganized militias who have not agreed to come under a banner, a flag of unified organized militias for states or whatever. Because, like I said, organized militias must comply with the military code of justice. Okay? That's the reason for that is then you're protected by international law. If you're invaded, even if you're invaded domestically. Okay, let's say these veterans come across a ragtag team of American gang members. Okay, who has the jurisdictional authority to effect defenses and be right in law in that respect? You know who would be? The organized militia, because they have a mandate of protection. They have rank, they have rules, they have a jurisprudence. The guys that are over there running ragtag with guns, those would be the criminals. See, we have to do this under the law. So the disorganized militias have not agreed to be under the construct of the law that protects them all the way up through international tribunals. Because you're talking about defending domestically. That means guerrilla warfare. You know what happens in international tribunals when it comes to who's on the wrong side of a war and domestic terrorism and stuff? Who's agreed to the construct that is there for the safety and security of the people?
Well, I don't want to necessarily project what I don't want to project.
But I'm not calling the shots on the ground. The boots on the ground are under control. They are under the jurisdiction. They came to me and asked me, how do we present this to our liaisons just for, and I said, well, this is my opinion. This is how I would present it. And they go and do it. And they said, okay, we got an okay. That's what I know. So I'm merely at the, I asked for, if I say, hey, can I get a field report? Because I worry, because I hear these things in the middle of the night. Early this morning, I find out they found graves. Okay, I'm up at 6 o'clock. So I'm like, what? Confirm this for me. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just for me, so I can tell you. And this is all filtering out. This isn't secret stuff. You just have to be like, no, you have to be like watching the, Facebook and YouTube and wait for it not to get ripped. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll share. I know that you don't like this, but I'll share it on my page, which is a public feed. I will share the link to the Anon thread that was started strictly for the purposes of making sure that all these videos are available no matter where they get ripped from, and can be pulled back down, because people can say what they want about the Anon thing. It totally is easily a co-optable thing. Anonymous.
Here's the thing with Q. I don't want any of my content or material associated with Q. Period. 100%.
That is your right. That is your right to control.
That is my right. My right. And, I have no problem. I have no problem with Anonymous. I work with, they protect my networks.
They're good and bad. There's good and bad.
My network is over 100,000. It's so big, I've lost count. I really don't count anymore. It's gone global. And here's the thing, Lotus. Here's the thing, with all due respect, I don't want these types of affiliations. I want to be, this is for the children. It's not political. It's not, I don't want it to be classified with I don't want to be put in any box. This is a crime against humanity. It's a crime against humanity. Do not affiliate me or associate me with any of these boxes, right or left, or any political affiliation. This has to do with crimes against humanity. I don't care if you're with whatever, okay? If you're Anon and you're protecting my operation and the crimes against humanity, then we're down. However, if you have a specific affiliation, please keep it out of the argument. I don't come into my group and claim that you are against something or whatever. This is crimes against humanity. We are dealing with the people that want to enslave us globally. This is the globalists versus nationalists. We have a constitution here in the United States that we have a right to defend. Do not bring your personal issues against me personally. I don't care if you don't like me personally. This is about the children.
Absolutely. I can't disagree with anything you just said. And I agree with that. I mean, I'm old school. You got to remember, I'm old school. I know anyone who comes around, this is what I'm going to tell you about Anonymous. I love them. There's good ones and bad ones. And there's the really bad ones. Okay, if they're really anonymous, they know how to do anything. And they tend to be good. The ones that come up and say, I'm with Anonymous and are braggart and I'm going to target you, those really aren't anonymous. Those are cheap little surface hackers.
It's neither here nor there. I've made my point, and I think I've been very clear. And globally, we have a epidemic against human trafficking, and this is our focus. And you cannot bring this into our group, and you cannot divide us. Period.
Right. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. What I'm saying about the QAnon threads, and this is a separate thread. This is actually just a thread that's been created. And the beauty of what the particular medium that they're using is they're creating rooms that are kind of perfect from hacking. And so you can create a body of data that that can't be removed, that they can't rip because it's in the deep web and through the beauty of what they know, programming.
It's not even that, Lotus. I mean, let's be real here. This is a consciousness of Christ. This is a wave of Christ consciousness. So let's just ride the wave, okay? Yeah. Let's just go with the objectives and be specific of what we need down there, boots on the ground, because we have uncovered a child trafficking network. Children are being freaking raped, okay, guys? And if you cannot stand up against that, I'm sorry for you. You have a problem. However, this is the deal. We don't want your transgender freaking I'm in the middle ass. We don't want those people. We want the people that have a clear directive, are willing to spread our message, share our content, and freaking come down there with paper. If you're a retired vet, here's the deal. We want you to come down with paperwork. Because we want to come before an international military tribunal. Absolutely. We don't want any of this other bullshit, political shit. We don't care what party you affiliate with. Okay? No more division. This is a war against humanity. These people are not human. Either you're human or you're not human. We want morals and humanity.
Yeah, either you believe that children are not a booty of war or fodder for war. I mean, and this is a global construct, folks. I'm tired of wars in general. Just the other day on Facebook, I pulled up a post. I was researching the use of crucifixion in war and crucifixion as an instrument of war. And people don't realize that the way police take you into custody is a crucifixion hold. Okay, they're taught to put you in the same position that Christ was put in, with your arms stretched back. They bring your hands together, but they will put. I've been through this. I know what it is. I know what it feels like. And you can't breathe, and they dislocate your shoulders. They dislocate. They sever the nerves in your thumbs. Okay, people have no concept of what goes on. I do. I've been there. I walked it. I've seen it. It's lawless. It's criminal. It's horrible. Okay, no one is being served by our prison systems today. Of that, I can tell you. They can't even treat the mentally ill proper because they're there with. I mean, it's just disorganized, and it's not good for the people. So I've seen it. So I was doing that, and there was this picture from some Japanese. Oh gosh, the rape of Nakin. I think it was. I'm probably saying the city wrong, but it was a famous picture of this Japanese soldier standing next to another, and he's bayoneted a baby, and he's holding it in the air. No. Well, I'm tired of men.
Here's the thing.
For war and women. I'm tired of wars.
Here's the thing, Lotus. Here's the thing. I've been a targeted individual all my life, and I've become very adept. All right. I don't want to, I'm not trying to pride myself or anything like that. But here's the thing. It's in every race. They've infiltrated everything, people. Everything. And this propaganda that they're distributing globally, it comes from the same source. We are not divided, folks. A huge revelation. We are not divided against each other. This is an illusion. This is propaganda. And we need to unite for the simple purpose to defend the innocence of the children. Let's do it. Let's rock.
Yeah, and you got to remember when they war upon women, they war upon our children. I mean, what better way? I mean, you read the Bible. You want to know what it says in the Bible? It told Moses, who follows not my, we won't even get into that. But he tells Moses, basically, God supposedly, says whatever group.
It's on. I mean, there is no more. How much more evidence do we need, folks? How much more evidence do we need? It's on.
Yeah, it's on, and this is going to evolve. Is what the greater point of this call is. They need support help down there, folks. They need water. They need potassium, like bananas. These orders are going to. I mean, these are the things that they're telling me right now. Right now, they're on standby. They're waiting, I believe, for a conference call. I don't even know who that's with, but the military ops are waiting. I think that we're waiting for kind of the law from from the top down to evolve, because the vets on the ground they're not standing down, folks, and they have an oath, and it's one of those things that they asked me how. I said, well, they have a personal oath to defend. Just because the cops say there's not a national emergency, they're the ones that have the authority to defend that and have an oath to do it. So if they're saying, hey, this is a military insurgence, this is involving potentially a collapse of a border where we have tunnels through the border and they're trafficking people, we consider this a national emergency. We're under oath. We are taking this into our personal, as men, we have the right to do that. So we're going to go talk to the people locally and ask them if they need us. We're going to walk this. We're going to do this grid. They've done this themselves. The boots on the ground have evolved the military order that's coming about, and that's the beauty of it. They've already established this type of organized militia with direct contact, liaisonship through the proper channels of the provost instruments that were evolved from the War Department.
Lotus.
So,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm getting, I get live updates from everywhere.
Right.
I'm getting reports from other tunnel networks in other states, such as Florida. What do you have to say about that?
That's the whole point. We're hoping to have this be kind of an organized militia. I would love for this to evolve. I think that they're going to do the southern border. Their goal is to cover this whole southern border with these same types of voluntary organized militia grid fashion searches of these regions where people, it's kind of it's kind of a tithe.
Would you say would you say that this is the gateway to the exposure to the entire grid? I mean, would you say that this is
absolutely? That's what I'm trying to explain. I'm trying to explain that I would love to evolve this in working with all the proper lawful departments, which is organically functioning right now.
You're just trying to comply with federal jurisdiction laws. Absolutely. So that you can formally take this before a military tribunal in compliance, and that's all you're trying to do.
Right? Absolutely. And guess who has to invoke the military when it comes to people within the quote civilian area? We have to invoke that. Okay, we're not okay. They're responsible. They need to do their thing within the states of men that function within this federal civil agencies and stuff. But if you have local corruption and you have corrupt judiciary protecting them, guess who needs to go tell the military and prove to the military and bring the proof to the military that there is a need, because there's sedition and treason happening within the local community and precipitating criminal activity, RICO. If you have the bar unions and the judiciary in coup and they're blocking the RICO claims and they're protecting the RICO, how else are you going to get that information to the executive branch and to the government? You can't. With my case, I already found out that the provost's office was shut down for the American people. I called the provost one time. I'm good at research and I'm good at business. I know how to get a hold of the president's office, secretary. I know how to do it. So I just called through the Department of Justice one day up in the Pentagon, and I asked for the provost marshal's office, and they connected me to his administrative secretary. And I had a very nice, polite conversation with her. And I said, well, here's my problem. And I told her, we're having really issues in the judiciary here. I'm concerned. I've actually gone to the military.
Lotus, would you confidently say that we have direct channels?
Yes, I would say that we have through a certain gateway of people, we have the ability to speak to important people in the executive branch. Yes, that is what my understanding is. That from material activities I have seen happen, these organic kind of backdoor methodologies to get things done. And these are not people who are paid. These are people who are whistleblowers who have coordinated and come together, and through being stressed, have come to be known by the good people, in the executive branch and the judicial branch. Those people.
We have humbly established contacts, and we do have a contact through the executive branch, and we are implementing these procedures. And I just want to notify the public. Yes, we are. We are, because the establishment has failed we the people, the the fourth branch of government. You have the establishment has failed, and we are trying to very civilly establish and completely following all lines of procedures. We are doing this. Lotus, are you there with me? Okay. I lost Lotus. All right. So I lost Lotus. Stand by. I'm going to hook this up. Oh, yeah. Difficulties. Stand by, folks. I may have to make this a second podcast. It's heated. It's a heated topic, and I'm upset. And I'm trying to pressure Lotus a little bit, and I'm not able to. And it's really hard to interject. All right. Okay, I'm going to end this podcast, and we're going to continue the chat. You can subscribe to the show on Spreaker. I'm on Twitter and Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I will be going live again with Lotus Justice with updates as we receive. And thank you for tuning in to the Porthole to Justice, the window to the truth.